Hello, I'm Michael Thompson. Today, I wish to share with you a profound story that changed the trajectory of my life forever. It's a narrative of survival, revelation, and divine intervention, a powerful message that reaches beyond the mundane realm of our existence to touch something deeper, something eternal. This tale began on an ordinary spring morning, April 14th, 2018. As a seasoned pilot with over 15 years of experience, the sky had become my second home. That morning, I was prepared for a routine flight from Phoenix to Albuquerque, a route I had flown countless times, under skies whose moods I knew as well as I knew my own. The weather was exceptionally clear, the air crisp and inviting, as the sun began its gentle climb into the azure expanse, promising a smooth journey ahead. Yet, what began as a routine flight soon transcended into an extraordinary ordeal. Mid-flight, a seemingly minor flicker on my instrument panel caught my attention. It was slight, almost inconsequential, a minor anomaly that at first glance appeared to be nothing more than a glitch. But within moments, this minor disturbance escalated rapidly into a nightmare of catastrophic proportions. System after system began to fail, and the aircraft, my trusted companion in the skies, began to betray my attempts to command it. It started to lose altitude alarmingly fast. Despite my extensive training and the calm exterior I maintained, inside, my heart was pounding against my chest like a drum as I battled with the controls. My efforts to stabilize the aircraft proved futile as the controls slipped from my grasp and the serene skies turned into a menacing foe. The ground approached at a frightening speed, and as I braced for impact, a profound sense of finality washed over me. Then, in a moment that felt both like an eternity and an instant, everything went black. In the darkness that followed, a remarkable and utterly unforeseeable event unfolded. Something that my years of training had not prepared me for. I found myself detached from my physical body, floating serenely above the chaos that had once been a well-ordered scene. Below me, emergency teams worked frantically amid the twisted wreckage of the plane. Despite the horror of the crash, I felt an overwhelming peace enveloping me. There was no pain, no fear, only a detached serenity from the catastrophic scene below. It was a peace that transcended understanding, a stark contrast to the expected turmoil of such a moment. This tranquility, however, was soon interrupted by a gentle but irresistible pull, drawing me away from the earthly chaos into a tunnel suffused with the most brilliant and comforting light I had ever seen. As I was drawn through this luminous corridor, a figure emerged from the radiance, a figure radiating infinite love and compassion. It was Jesus, and he knew me by name. "Michael," he said, with a warmth that enveloped my very soul, "you are here because your time has not yet come." What followed was a life review, unlike anything I could have imagined. A phenomenon that allowed me to see my past not as I remembered, but through a divine lens that illuminated the impact of even my smallest actions. Through this divine perspective, I witnessed moments where simple gestures of kindness had set a chain of events in motion, altering someone's life dramatically. Words of encouragement that I had long forgotten had saved a colleague from despair and, in turn, enabled him to perform heroically under pressure, saving lives years later. Conversely, this review also highlighted instances where my own doubts and fears had restrained me, holding me back from realizing my full potential and from embracing opportunities that were meant to elevate me and others. At the culmination of this life review, Jesus presented me with two distinct paths that my life could take following this encounter. The first path involved returning to my earthly existence with a mission to share profound truths I had witnessed, thereby transforming not only my life, but potentially impacting countless others in ways I could barely begin to comprehend. The second path was one of denial, where I could choose to dismiss the entire experience as a mere hallucination, a trick of a stressed mind at the brink of death, leading back to a life marked by an unshakable sense of what might have been of emptiness. The choice was presented clearly and starkly, and the implications of this decision resonated deeply within me. Driven by the undeniable reality of my experience and the clarity of the mission set before me, I chose to return with a purpose, despite the challenges I knew would await me. Skepticism from peers, the potential derision from those unable to accept or even fathom my experience. I embraced the calling to share this divine message. Abruptly, as if pulled by some unseen force, I was thrust back into my broken body. I awoke in a hospital bed, surrounded by the sterile beeps of medical equipment and the soft, concerned murmurs of the hospital staff. The doctors were astounded by my survival. They had not expected me to wake, much less recover. The injuries I had sustained were severe, the kind that typically left no hope for recovery. Yet, there I was, alive, with not just a second chance at life, but with a burning need to share what I had seen and learned. The initial reactions to my story were as varied as they were profound. My family, who had been overjoyed at my miraculous recovery, found themselves grappling with the implications of my experience as I began to share the details. My father, who had always been my rock, my steady guide through the storms of life, found himself at odds with my recounting. "It was just a dream, Michael," he would say, attempting to rationalize what he couldn't accept as reality. His skepticism was echoed by other family members who loved me dearly but struggled to bridge the gap between our shared reality and the divine encounter I described. My wife, my steadfast partner, supported me through my recovery but was understandably concerned about the psychological impact of the crash. Her support was tinged with worry. She watched me closely, fearful perhaps that the trauma had unhinged me from reality. Despite the doubts and concerns from those closest to me, I felt an unwavering compulsion to share the truths revealed to me during that life-altering encounter. As I recovered physically, I began reaching out to others who might understand or have experienced something similar. I discovered communities online filled with people who had their own near-death experiences. These forums became a sanctuary for me, a place where my story was not only believed but valued for the hope it could offer others. My mission soon led me beyond the digital world and into public speaking. I started by sharing my story at local churches, where I was met with a mix of reactions. Some listeners received the message with open hearts, moved by the description of divine love and the assurance of purpose beyond this life. Others were skeptical, their brows furrowed in disbelief. Yet they listened, a testament to the human curiosity about what lies beyond the veil of our current existence. The more I shared, the more invitations I received to speak at spiritual retreats, conferences, and even on television panels discussing spirituality and near-death experiences. Each engagement broadened the reach of my message, and with each telling, my own understanding deepened. I saw how my words, my testimony, stirred something within people, whether it was a reassurance they needed or a spark of curiosity about the divine. Feedback from these talks often reached me in waves of gratitude. I received letters and emails from individuals thanking me for giving them a new perspective on life and death. One letter that particularly touched me came from a woman who had lost her son and found comfort in the idea that his soul was embraced by love rather than the void she had feared. Such responses fortified my resolve to continue, despite the hardships. However, not all feedback was positive. The exposure also brought criticism and even hostility from skeptics who viewed my experiences as delusions or opportunistic fabrications. Debates on public platforms sometimes turned sharp and accusatory. I learned to navigate these confrontations with patience, understanding that my truth might not be everyone's truth, and that skepticism was often a shield against the vulnerability that my story invoked. Amidst the public engagements and online interactions, the most profound changes were happening closer to home. My family, initially skeptical, began to see the genuine impact of my story on others. My father, once doubtful, attended one of my larger talks. Afterward, he approached me with a complexity of emotion in his eyes. "Michael, I don't fully understand what happened to you, but I see the good it's doing. Maybe that's enough for now," he admitted, his voice thick with unshed tears. This moment of partial acceptance was a significant milestone, softening the lingering tension that my experience had introduced into our relationship. As years passed, the narrative of my near-death experience evolved from a personal revelation to a broader message about the power of love, forgiveness, and purpose. I penned a book detailing not only the crash of my divine encounter, but also the lessons learned from the myriad responses I'd encountered. The book was another avenue through which my story could reach those who might never attend a talk or watch a panel discussion. It was well received, further establishing the credibility of my experience in circles that valued literary expression over spoken word. Through it all, the most lasting and profound impact was perhaps on my personal spiritual journey. Engaging continually with the divine message I had been given not only altered my perception of life and death, but also how I interacted with everyone around me. I found myself more patient, more open to listening, and more compassionate towards others, regardless of their beliefs or backgrounds. Now, as I continue to share my story across various platforms, I invite each of you to reflect on the power of your own actions and the potential for change that resides within each of us. We are all connected in this vast tapestry of human experience, and each thread we weave through our interactions has a potential to strengthen or fray the overall design. Thank you for spending this time with me, for hearing my story. If it resonates with you, if it stirs something within your soul, do not ignore it. Embrace it. Let it inspire you to act with kindness, to seek out your purpose, and to spread love wherever you go. Remember, each of us has a role to play, and each role is crucial to the whole. Your life has purpose. Your actions have a ripple effect. Recognize your power, embrace it, and together, let's make the world a better place.